War is often told through medals, victory speeches, and heroic last stands, but what about the orders no one wants to remember, the commands whispered through radios, the villages marked on maps, the civilians labeled as targets? Throughout history, soldiers have claimed something chilling: "I was just following orders." Tonight, we dive into the darkest moral battlefield of all, when soldiers were commanded to kill civilians, and what happened when they obeyed, and when they refused. Military systems are built on obedience. From boot camp onward, recruits are trained to follow orders instantly, without hesitation. In battle, hesitation can mean death, but what happens when the order itself becomes the crime? During the Second World War, Nazi officers told their troops that civilians were enemies of the state. Entire villages were labeled partisans. Under Adolf Hitler's regime, disobedience meant execution. Many soldiers later claimed they had no choice, but history would ask a different question: did they? One of the darkest examples came from the Nazi mobile killing units known as the Einsatzgruppen. These squads followed behind the front lines in Eastern Europe. Their mission: mass shootings of Jewish civilians, Roma communities, and political prisoners. Men were lined up, women and children forced to dig their own graves. Some soldiers drank heavily to cope. Some asked for reassignment. Many obeyed. Historians later found that refusal often led to transfer, not execution, which meant, for some, there had been a choice. On March 16, 1968, in the village of My Lai, South Vietnam, American soldiers from Charlie Company entered expecting enemy combatants. Instead, they found civilians, unarmed, terrified, running. Over the next few hours, more than 500 civilians were killed: old men, women, children, infants. The massacre became known as the My Lai Massacre. Soldiers later testified that they were ordered to destroy everything. Some obeyed without question, others hesitated. One helicopter pilot, Hugh Thompson Jr., did something unthinkable. He pointed his aircraft's guns at his fellow American soldiers, threatening to fire if they continued killing civilians. He saved lives. He disobeyed. At the trials that followed, many soldiers claimed they were following direct orders from Lieutenant William Calley. Calley himself claimed he was following higher command. This defense, obedience to authority, had been used before. After World War II, Nazi officials tried the same argument during the Nuremberg Trials, but the tribunal established a principle that changed international law forever. Following orders is not a defense for war crimes. Moral responsibility belongs to the individual, even in uniform. In 1961, psychologist Stanley Milgram conducted an experiment. Participants were told to deliver electric shocks to another person whenever they answered a question incorrectly. The shocks increased in voltage. The screams were fake, but the participants didn't know that, despite visible discomfort, despite hearing cries of pain, 65% continued to the maximum voltage. Because an authority figure told them to, Milgram concluded something disturbing: ordinary people can commit extraordinary cruelty when authority demands it. In war, enemies are often stripped of identity. They're not civilians, they're not families, they're collateral damage, they're insurgents, they're vermin. Language makes it easier. Once a group is dehumanized, killing becomes psychologically easier. History shows this pattern again and again. In Nazi Germany, in Rwanda, in Bosnia, the label comes first, the violence follows. Not every soldier obeyed. Some refused to fire, some hit civilians, some warned villages before attacks. In Nazi-occupied Poland, a German officer named Albert Battel defied the SS and blocked a bridge to prevent the deportation of Jewish civilians. He was later punished, but he chose conscience over command. Acts like these were rare, but they prove something important. Even in war, there is always a moment of choice. Today, international law is clearer than ever. The Geneva Conventions prohibit targeting civilians. The International Criminal Court prosecutes war crimes, yet atrocities still happen, from villages bombed in modern conflicts, to mass graves discovered years later. The question remains: is obedience stronger than morality, or is fear stronger than conscience? We often think the battlefield is made of trenches and gunfire, but sometimes, the real battlefield is inside the human mind. When a soldier is given an unlawful order, there is a split second: obey or refuse. that moment defines history, because war crimes are not committed by weapons, they are committed by people, and history has shown, even in the chaos of war, choice still exists. The question is, what would you do? If history teaches us anything, it's that obedience can build nations, but it can also destroy humanity, because the most dangerous weapon in war is not the gun, it's unquestioned orders.